So these are my grandparents, Bill and Sherry, and this is, what's the date today? September 20th, 2013, and we are going to ask them some famous movie star questions. No, actually, this is kind of winding down the time that they've been in this house, and we just kind of want to make a video and talk to them about it and relive some of the memories together. So, is it okay? We're okay? They're okay. So Grandma and Grandpa, you've been in this house, you said not 60 years, but 55 years. And kind of what we just wanted to know is, Grandma, you've talked about sometimes when you first came up to this part of the country, you'd lived in Hutch. What were your first impressions of coming up to this part of the world? Lebanon, Kansas.
Well, I liked it. I mean, I liked this country. I visited up here. But visiting for a couple of weeks and living up here were two different things.
And so you met Grandpa on one of your visits up here, is that right? So how did you both meet?
We got her out of the carnival down the Downs.
So you saw this beautiful lady from across?
Yeah. She just kind of attractive. So I asked her for a date. I guess I took her home that night, didn't I?
No, you talked to me first.
Just talked to her
One
first
evening.
time. And I went back the next night maybe and got to take her up to where she was staying.
And so was that just a visit, or you hadn't moved up here, you were just visiting for the summer?
Visiting.
Yeah.
We were on the dispatch with some people.
Uh-huh. So then after that, what was kind of, you had a courtship through letters, or how did that work?
Mostly.
Mostly through letters? Yeah.
That was probably the summers of 49 and 50 when I came up here. And he went into service in 51.
Mm-hmm.
And so then
So
we
I
started writing.
Didn't get very serious about anybody because I knew I was getting drafted. I didn't want to leave my widow back here, so I just went on and done my service time.
Besides that, I was 14 when he met me.
Yeah.
Really? Did you know that?
And he was 19.
Aha. So robbing the cradle with the city slicker.
And his neighbor lady verified that he was a really neat young man, and so the people I was staying with let me go to the movie with him. But then I remember I came back up the next summer and we dated, and then I remember I went home and we were going to write, and I asked my dad if I could write to him, and he says, "No, he's too old for you. You can't do that."
She must have sneaked me a letter anyway.
No, but then after you were in the service,
Courtney
You wrote me a
when I
letter.
was over in Hawaii. I even sent her a bouquet of roses when she
graduated from high school.
From Hawaii?
yeah.
How'd you do that before the internet?
It was an orchid. They shipped it from there.
That's cool.
Bouquet
That's
of
cool.
roses or
No,
what?
it was an orchid.
Oh, okay. I forgot. I wasn't in the flowers.
So did you keep any of those letters, or have they
I don't
gotten
know.
lost in the shuffle?
I didn't keep any of them.
Yeah, I was like, you probably started some fire some cold winter night. Perfect kindling. So you went off to the service in Hawaii, and then you came back.
Came back in 53,
53.
and I graduated in 53.
Mm-hmm.
I went in the Marines in September of 51. I got out in September of 53. I spent 2 years in there.
Okay. You came
I
back.
come home and was home about 6 weeks and I just married Jill.
Yeah, but you sent me a ring for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
In the mail?
Yeah, 52.
You didn't ask, you just sent it by mail?
Yep. I wrote a little poem. It was a feature lock. And I sent half of it. I said, to get the other half of this feature lock, you've got to become Mrs. Bell Walker. She accepted.
I didn't know you were so romantic. So that was in 54 then?
53.
Or that was still 53? And
I
then,
got out the 21st of September in 53.
We were married November 6th.
in the same year, 53.
Yeah.
So,
I had to wait till after my 18th birthday
I
uh-huh.
had to turn 18 and
because my dad said no.
But then when you turned 18, you just did what you want. I knew there was a rebel streak in this family somewhere.
It came somewhere.
my Uncle Jack lived down there and he wrote to me and wanted to know if I'd take over his operation. He was dying from cancer.
Mm.
2 days after I got home, he died. In fact, I was on the way to Wichita, I think, when he died. I didn't know it was that bad, but Mom said he just was hanging on till I could get home.
Mhm.
I told him I'd take care of it as long as Auntie needed me to, so we was down there 5 years. We moved a half a mile in the last 60 years, near 60.
So that was the first place when you were married. You lived at your
Little
Uncle
house, yeah.
Jack's.
Half mile south.
So how long were you there until you moved
5
here?
years.
5 years.
5 years, right? And then,
She remarried, so
uh-huh.
we came up here.
Okay. So yeah, how'd you find this place? Just you knew.
It just came to us, and people that owned it, women lived in Topeka, the old ladies that owned it.
Mhm.
But they specified in order to farm it, had to live on it. Well, the termites had the floors laid out.
So it was kind of in rough shape before you even moved.
Yeah, she thinks we ought to put it up in good shape on the lady, but she forgot what kind of shape it was. We didn't have no plumbing or nothing in here till we put it in ourselves.
So no toilet, no anything.
No, we had an outhouse.
We remember that outhouse.
Yeah, we played in that outhouse.
Well, maybe you did.
The one that was here was
Just kidding.
just sitting here cattywampus. I told him I wasn't
It
gonna.
about fall down, so I built that one out there
Uh-huh.
out of scraps that come out of the north side of the house. They tore that all out, the wood part all out of the north side, and laid up in cement block.
Oh, so this back part was originally wood, and but it was it the original kitchen still?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they had a chimney hanging on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
They had an old wood cook stove is what they cooked on in there. You can imagine what that was like for feeding a bunch of threshermen or something, 15, 20 guys. And old ladies had to go out there and sweat in that, done all their cooking on a wood stove in the middle of summer.
Because this was built in what 1881. It's the old Porter Ranch, right? So it was
Porter Ranch.
here taking care of a lot of rancher folk, I guess. So you came here, you moved in, you had to do a lot of work to this place still, or?
Well, they did
Well,
it.
well, pipe of water up here,
They ran the cement floors and stuff and made it livable.
kinda.
So what did you think moving into this place? After Hutchinson and then the place over there and then...
We didn't have much down there either. We had an outhouse down there.
Uh-huh.
I did get water over there, and we had a water heater in the corner, but no bathroom, no nothing like that. And a kitchen sink.
Huh? And the laundry? Did the laundry out back?
Out in
No.
out in the wash house.
Bought that old wash house and moved it in.
Mm-hmm.
Had a wood stove. We
Wood stove
heated
there,
water
we
on.
heated the water on, and she used to wash out there.
Mm-hmm.
Till we finally got water in the house.
With a inner washer. 2 tubs.
Yeah. Some all worked pretty hard. Had them 5 kids, all in a row.
Yeah, you had first kid in 55 then. So you had my dad when you were back over at the other place.
We
So,
had
yeah.
all but Rhonda,
all that round
and she was on the way
Uh-huh. When you moved into
when
here.
we moved here.
Okay.
So Wanda was born in November before Dick turned 5 in January. So
That's
she
crazy.
had 5 kids under 5 years old.
That's crazy, you know. And you call us crazy. So, I mean, how was it living out here? Because it's such a different life than what you had grown up in.
Well, it was different, but when we were married, we were in a drought. And I remember that a man who had lived here for many years and had moved to Topeka came back one day, and I was out hanging clothes on the line, and he stopped in and he came out and said, "Well, how are you doing, Sherry?" And I said, "I'm just doing. But I just told Bill that I wished if he was going to farm, he would have picked any place but this godforsaken country up here." Because I came from Hutchinson, where, you know, they had good farms and everything was flat, and this would just seem like it was, for the first 5 years, it was just dry, and
We raised kids,
were in.
that's all we raised, mostly. I raised a little hay and stuff down there. But we about
for
starved
the livestock.
in the first 5 years. They had a
But oh well, you know, be better next year.
had a veterans program up down that they were supposed to teach us to farm, called it on the farm training. And I drew about, I don't know, $100 or $125 a month for so many months. And then we were supposed to have learned enough to make a little more farming in there. Well, it got down to where my last check was probably, I don't know, $28 or something like that. But if we hadn't had that, we'd probably starved out. And, when we got married, we had 16 inches of snow on the ground. We went to Downs, the preacher was going to be down there. He was going to be over here, but he called and said he couldn't get up here. He had old slick tires on his car, and he couldn't make it up. I said, "We'll just be down there." I had some new Firestone tires on the back of my car. So we pushed snow with a bumper all the way to Downs.
To get hitched.
I asked the old preacher what I owed him, and, well, whatever you think it's worth. And I looked in my billfold and I had a $5 bill. I just emptied my billfold and gave him my $5 bill.
And was it worth it? Did you get your money's worth?
I guess so. She paid. Cooks well.
That's for sure.
See babies need no end.
So grandmother's first years were kind of rough, but
They were rough for
Okay.
Grandma. I think back on, I don't know how she done that. With all them kids, people like Ann down there with that one little kid, she can't do anything if the kid's there. She gotta have somebody, grandma keep her, or somebody's gotta keep the kid, or she can't do nothing. How in the world did this grandma do that with all 5 kids? And we didn't have no babysitter and no daycare center. She done it herself. She'd pack one on her hip and carry clothes out and hang on the line. That's just the way it was.
well, have you seen how those kids turned out? No. Just kidding. So, well, things seem to get better then, but
Yeah,
Love
ended
it.
up we had a bunch of grandkids. And you know, we have great grandkids. One thing leads to another.
so you're saying it's been a fast 60 some years, huh?
Almost 60. If we can get
Yeah.
till the 6th
Not
of
too
November,
fast.
it's going to be 60 years.
So 60 years on the
I
6th
said
of
not
November.
too fast.
At times fast, at times slow, maybe.
No, we had water out to the hydrant out the corner of the house. We carry water in here. And she got the red sink out there and carry the water out in a 5-gallon bucket. She decided we ought to have a septic tank or some way to run the water out. So I said, well, if you'll help mix cement, I had a neighbor dig a hole out there for a septic tank. I said, if you mix the cement, we'll put a floor in it. So I had a box about this wide and about 4 foot long, and she mixed the cement with a hole. She put it in a bucket and dumped it over in that septic tank hole. You couldn't hardly see where what it done, but she stayed with it. And we run the floor And after it's set up, well, I got the cement block. She mixed the cement for me so I could lay up the blocks. So that was my first block laying job. I covered it up. But it was pretty neat. It looked about like this north wall in here, them crows put up.
The thing that saved me was bought an old piano at a sale and it sat out on the porch and I'd go out and play the piano. That's
Yeah.
how
Even with gloves on, she played.
that's how I coped. In the wintertime, I put gloves on, went out and played the piano.
So when did you decide to move the piano inside?
Well, Glenn Jennings gave her a piano. It had been a player piano.
Uh-huh.
And he redone it, and he gave it to her. And she played it for quite a while until it got kind of bad shape, so she moved it out on the porch. That was when she played out there.
Hello.
Dick and Linda bought this one.
No, Dick and Tad did.
But yeah, Dick and Ted, after Sandy died.
Mm-hmm.
And she was needing something that put her through that, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had put our water in, our plumbing out,
Everything.
built the corrals.
So, yeah.
I was just saying, I'm sure life got better once you got like indoor plumbing and a septic tank. That probably improved quality of life a little bit.
That made a lot of difference.
Yeah.
It got a lot handier. Moved the washing machine in the kitchen here, and washer and dryer.
But that wasn't till '85.
Well, another one. We had a dryer.
Just a few years ago.
We had a dryer in
Here
here.
on the west end of the kitchen.
So when did you actually build like the bathroom and get all that stuff inside?
Well, that just come once in a while, I don't know.
Were the kids still all
It was
here?
in the '60s.
They run the cement floor in here, and I happened to come up here. Of course, I was farming it that year, and I started farming in '58, but we didn't move here till spring of '59 till we got. But I happened to be up here when they was running cement, so I nailed them together a 2x4 frame and put in there, so
Where
it
the bathroom was.
left me some dirt so I could bring my plumbing in and out. And so I put a plywood floor on it and put that in there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a bathroom.
It was about '63 or so when we got bathroom put in.
That was there.
A year later, we ran out of water for a year and a half.
Yeah, my well went dry and we had to haul water.
From where?
We hauled it from the neighbors.
She went to the laundromat with the laundry till we got water.
I
again.
started going to the laundromat, and I went to the laundromat for 18 years.
Wow. Up in Lebanon?
No, at Downs
Oh, damn.
for Red Cloud.
That's quite a ways to go to do laundry.
Yeah, and she had all them kids to mess with.
It was probably worth the drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you just kind of got by.
So what would you, do you have any, like, I don't know, I couldn't really say what would be your greatest memory here. I guess you'd probably have a lot. What's your worst memory?
15 of them was a blur for her.
Really?
She had her hands full, clear full. She used to go out and whistle for the kids. One day
But we went to town once a week.
she
get
whistled and
groceries.
whistled one day and didn't get no response, so she started walking and got down over the creek bank down south of the flat down here. And there was the kids just like spokes in a wagon wheel. There was a nest of turtles hatching out. And they was engrossed in that, and they didn't hear her whistles. They were all engrossed in that. Turtles was hatching out, and then they'd head for the creek. It was about 3-4 rod over to the creek. They just hatch out and start heading for the creek. And kids was all engrossed in that.
So it has been 55 years in this house. Is that 55 years this year? So and now the big move to Downs, maybe? Surely.
maybe.
Yeah. So
That's what I'm told.
yeah, that's what you're told. So well, do you have any final words about this old rock house? Any other memories to add?
Well, it has sat here.
Well,
It is
this
set here.
house no longer
Yeah,
beneath the saints.
that's true. And I will say, when they put, when we ran this cement porch on here, when they took that off, the neighbor came up because he wanted to know what kind of footings were under these rocks. And they had no footings. The rocks were sitting on the ground. And
Really?
it's set here all these years.
It hasn't sunk or anything.
The rocks was laid up with some old magnesia stuff that was down in the creek down yonder next to Dan and those houses. They dug that old magnesia out of the bank, and that's what the rocks was laid up with.
It's not much of a house, but it's sat here for a long time.
Pretty good house. It's got a lot of memories.
It's
A lot.
might not be a nice house, but it's a nice home.
Exactly.
But it's, and, it's been a quiet house. You didn't hear the wind blowing, and you didn't hear,
No,
A
it
lot of
sat
outside
through quite a
stuff.
few storms and never did blow away. Of course, I don't hear nothing anymore. Take my ears out, it could blow away and I wouldn't know it. She hears stuff.
that we've always tried to be satisfied with what we had and content, more or less. And
My dad told me when I started farming, he said, get what you can get along on and then be satisfied with it. Don't think, don't go looking over the fence thinking you ought to have that too. And I never have. I mean, we just sat here on what we got. We had farmed other places, but it always came to us. I didn't go out and try to rent something away from somebody else or anything. And this 80 that I bought up here, that lady decided she'd sell it. Well, neighbor over here, he wanted it bad. But that was the first ground that me and my brother farmed. And we had it off and on for a few years. When it came back to me, the guy that owned it, he finally moved to town and he rented it back to me again.
when he died, she said she wanted to sell it to Bill. That's what Arthur would have wanted. So,
So we bought that, and I just got that paid for, and I told Dad, well, made my last payment on that. Well, he said, how'd you like to buy some more? And he wanted to sell me the place over there, so I bought that too. And sold that to Dick, so.
And is that when you knew you weren't leaving for a while?
I told him I wasn't moving over there in that rock house. I already had a rock house.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good memories over there too.
Yeah,
there's memories over there.
yeah. Just yeah, it's crazy. Like this house always seemed so big to me. as
I know.
As you know, growing up and playing upstairs, and we had haunted houses, and
Where did you walk in that basement under that one down there?
yeah, that's what I heard. It's pretty big. Yeah.
Couldn't see from one end of it to the other.
Well, I'm just looking at us now. We pretty much fill up this whole room. But I remember, getting together and having these corn cob stoves burning. It
The
was
wood
warm.
stove would be
yeah, the
the
wood
burn,
stove. Yeah, and it seemed like lots of room to run around and yell and run around outside. But
How in the world did we ever fit all of us in these rooms for get-togethers? I don't even know how.
Well, that's why we don't have them anymore. There's no room.
they're too big. Yeah.
No, we've sat here and been pretty satisfied. We burned wood for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
But when we first started farming, it was neighbor help neighbor. And that isn't so prevalent anymore. I mean, we still have kind of a community, but like everything else, it's
Used
you
to be
spread
when
out
I-
because you go to school somewhere else.
We
and
put up
you-
hay, used to be, well, they'd be 8 or 10 neighbors get together and put up hay for one and then the other, and then we'd move around the neighborhood till it was put up. Now everybody's got big machinery and they don't put up hay like they used to. kind of one-man operation now.
That's why I have that little sign up above my sink that says, "Be content with what you have."
Yeah, we got a crisis corner over there.
Yeah. But we've tried to.
Little sign up there, life is too short.
I gotta
to be
show this.
little.
The crisis corner.
Oh yes.
And the sign over there.
The apology
Yeah.
that cracks me up.
Life is too short to be little. Something.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that you've had pretty much the same wall hangings my whole life. And
Yeah.
I like that. It's comforting.
It is.
Another crisis corner is in a crisis. I hung it up crooked. So,
Closets. We got no
We've tried,
closets.
now, we've never had a closet.
This has been there as
Hang
long as I can
clothes
remember.
in. But we,
Kind of under the stairs, but we got the piano in front of it.
yeah,
you just don't get so many clothes that way.
yeah. Be content, I
And
suppose.
down there, that house is closets everywhere.
Well, you got to buy more stuff now.
No, I ain't gonna buy more stuff. Not very much.
Well, now you can start having family get-togethers. No more excuses.
Well, probably, but they may have to bring their own folding chairs.
I got some chairs in my trunk, but that's
We're
inside.
already ready already. Call us up. We'll be there.
Well, there's room down there anyway.
Right,
There's
yeah.
room. They could put 40 kids down that basement.
And lock them in there. I mean, let them play.
Wait till
Door
there's a
on the
hole.
door handle, so they couldn't get out.
So you think you're gonna miss this little rock house? Surely it's a part of you now.
Yeah, I told him, I just thought we'd come back and forth for a while. Just,
Well, we'll have to, but
it'll take us a
We ain't
year and a
gonna
half
move
to
in 2
get
days. It's
stuff
gonna-
cleaned out from here.
it's gonna take a long time. I'll probably have to have a sale next spring or sometime, get rid of the machinery, it's all obsolete. Everybody outgrew me. I used to trade work with Joe over here. And we had a couple of little gleaner combines that we worked together. He had a drill, and I used his drill for 2-3 years, and I finally went and bought one about like he had. So that's what we're doing. We still traded work.
But we're kind of, we're passé now.
Everybody's got big. Joe finally outgrew me. He got great big combine, got more ground, and he just outgrew me. My stuff didn't fit anymore.
But then you didn't need more ground because you started carrying mail. And we had
Same boy was Roger Allen.
plenty
down
to
there.
farm with carrying
Roger
mail.
finally got too big for me. He got a big combine and went to harvest and all that stuff. I swathed hay for him all the time and stuff, but he outgrew me. He just outgrew me. We sat here and just sat here. And everybody else grew and grew away from us.
But think of all the good conversations you had sitting here.
Well, we've had some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
Some of them probably haven't been so good, but we're pretty much self-made, I guess.
No, we're not self-made. Nobody is self-made. God has been good to us. But we just, you've done what you were supposed to do. You raised your family, and we've never been hungry, and we've done more or less what was necessary to do, and you've helped a lot of people
Yeah.
along the way.
Well, you both have. So
Yeah.
I've got the most generous wife in the country. Keeps me broke all the time. Sets in and writes checks.
yeah.
Sends them to all the grandkids and the great-grandkids and whoever.
Well, we thought that was you sending those all these years. We thought that was your
Your
idea.
name
It's
was
not
on there.
because my nose, the grindstone.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, good memories. We all feel fortunate to have you in our lives, and I think that's why this house means a lot to all of us. But I think it's not really the house, just the memories of you two, and I don't know how you've shown us how it is to be content with what you have. It's been a good example. Staying in the same place for 55 years, you don't really hear that too much. So.
I remember that. You remember that 4th of July when it was so cold and everybody was sitting around with coats on out here on the porch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
I remember.
I thought, how ridiculous. 4th of July. And
But we had so much fun.
I remember nailing some kind of swirly thing to
Yeah.
your trees out
Yeah.
there, some kind
Yeah,
of rockety thing,
yeah.
and playing on the trampoline. I remember making Kid City 2 out of all of your iron pile stuff.
Yes.
You put that iron pile there just for us to play with, huh?
Yeah, probably some of it's still there. I sold 3 loads of iron in the last.
You sold Kid City?
Kid City 2.
It was not for sale.
We've been foreclosed on.
Yeah, so.
Then that little teddy bear, he's hung there ever since you guys were little.
Yes.
Yeah, never forget that. That must go with you.
Yes.
Yeah. And it must hang once again in a doorway. How many things have been colored on that and scribbled on it? So.
Oh, countless.
Anyway, we've got along here.
And we've been very fortunate. We've had just fairly good health all these years.
Yeah.
And our children had pretty good health too. So, and they did well.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of times even people my age, they've lost grandparents. And I've only lost one. That's rare.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks for living a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well. Michaela, any interview questions? Now's your big chance. Yeah. See, that wasn't
Yeah,
such a
you're-
painful 5 minutes.
Times 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final
Well, see, he
thoughts?
can't, he's got to go back in the years and tell all the details about everything.
It's okay. I like those detailed talks. So another good memory sitting around the table here and just having those long talks and memories and Grandpa's funny stories
And having root beer on your ice cream
and milkshakes.
and
vanilla
milkshakes. Yeah. And meals on Sunday after church. Or when Grandpa was coming back from the route to go back out, had dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped us out when I got on the mail route full time. We'd have made it anyway, but that helped considerable. That was kind of our living, what we made on the farm and made payments on our land that we bought. So that helped considerable.
I remember the first time your mother came down here. We had not met her, and as soon as she got here, she called her mother to let her know that she'd gotten down here all right. And I heard her say she had a dark blue car, a new car that she'd gotten for graduation, I think. Anyway, I heard her say, "But there's something all over my car. I don't know what it is. There's something white stuff all over my car." And I thought, I'll bet she'd just hardly wait to get someplace and get that washed off. She didn't know what it was, but it was that good old white rock.
White
Yeah.
chalk dust
Yeah.
road.
But she was just like, oh, she didn't know what it was.
It's not a trip up here if you don't get your car covered in that.
She'd never run into that stuff before.
So there's not a whole lot of car wash places up here, are there? I mean, people don't. Why would you wash your car if it's just gonna
Get dirty.
get dirty again?
I wouldn't.
Oh, sometimes you just have to.
Well, yeah. I guess after
just
it
gets
rains and
coated.
stuff, yeah.
Like in the winter when they put salt on the highway. You can't
Yeah,
wash that
sure.
off.
Yeah.
But we lived up here for quite a while before we had any rock on these roads. We plowed mud out. When we lived down there. They didn't rock this till they got this bridge put in about 1960 when they finished it.
So there wasn't a bridge over the.
Well, it was an old bridge.
Oh, like a
but it
little
was
old-
one of them old high banistered bridges with stuff over the top, set south of this one. You remember that cement wall?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Huh.
Before that, we plowed mud out from down there at that other place. None of these roads was rocked.
Clay gumbo.
In fact, the
You
highway.
drive over to the highway and your wheels are full of mud.
Who settled here? And why? Kind of crazy when you think about it.
I don't know, but
Do you think they were just tired?
But then
Anyway,
this clay knob looked pretty good when you look out in Colorado.
I guess. Yeah.
The
They're like,
flooding and stuff
ooh,
out
a
there.
river,
Yeah,
a creek, water.
A tree.
Bad,
a river ran through.
Yeah, I guess that would be the main draw, probably the river. I always think of that.
No, I don't know. I have several writings that people have done, you know, that came out here in the 80s and stuff, and why on earth? That's just what people do. They've got to go.
I mean, it's pretty in the 21st century when you're in a car driving on a nice highway, but I'm just thinking about, living out here when there was nothing.
Nothing
Seems
but horses pulled wagons and buggies, and then eventually automobiles.
This highway over here was just a rock road like this road is.
When did they pave that?
It was about, 48, that's it, on that down there. I think it was 48 when they put the blacktop on it. The bridge down there south of church fell in, so they had to put a new bridge in.
So then they just
So
decided to
just
pave
went
it.
ahead and graded up the road and blacktopped it. From Downs for 36. And then we launched from there on the Nebraska line. So.
And then after the state line was the abyss. No.
Well, they brought their road down.
Oh, they did.
There's a sign. Welcome
They
to
had the
Nebraska.
corn-
Sorry.
Wah, wah, wah. When you hit Nebraska.
But they didn't have a very good base up in Nebraska. After you get up over the hill and down there. They had just sand road is what it was. I remember I drove a guy that was a postmaster uptown here. He was coaching a ball team. We played the Legion ball all the time. He had me drive. He had a 5-passenger coupe, a Ford. And his wife was sitting on his lap, and we had 4 or 5 other guys in there, crammed in there, and we had to go to Red Cloud and play ball. And he kept telling me to hurry, we're going to be late. So I got to going pretty good, and then I hit a chuck hole up there about as big around this table in that sand road. They call them gravel, but they're not. They're just sand roads. They didn't have any base under there, and they'd water out. And I darn near lost it. Now we're back and forth there. I got it under control, and I was trying to slow down a little. I wasn't used to the road anyway. He kept saying, "You gotta hurry, we're gonna be late." So I sped up again. Pretty soon I hit another one like that. Now, back and forth, skidding back and forth in the whole car. They had a cross spring in them old Fords, and it pretty near felt like it was gonna tip over. But I kept her in the road, and I made it up there.
This is for a baseball game?
Yeah, we played baseball.
Yeah. I remember you used to have that baseball bat with the S, the Stewart baseball team, right?
We still got baseball.
You still,
out here,
yeah.
down someplace around here.
So,
A bat or two.
when you played for the Stewart baseball team, this is still Stewart. Like there was still a town here?
Yeah, they had a,
Or there was a baseball field, I remember you saying.
yeah, right across there.
Yeah, across the road,
yeah.
baseball
That
field.
was kind of before us played ball. I was just
Ah.
a kid when they done this.
Uh-huh. Oh, cute.
But they did, they had,
But you played ball
yeah, I played ball.
for the Stewart.
You just didn't steal second.
Well, I was playing cow pasture. We didn't have a ball field over here then, because they put these roads through here and ruined
And then they
the
put
ball
that in.
field.
Grandma, did you ever play any sports?
Yeah,
I
she
played
was a
ball.
ball player.
You played baseball, softball?
Softball.
I
She
think I
rode
remember
it
that.
Topeka and Rumble Seat to play softball one time.
So for Hutch, you played for Hutch High?
Hutch women's team.
So I'm gonna find you in a yearbook.
No,
I'm not?
we didn't play sports. when I was in high
Ah, so it
school.
was just like out of school. Or what
Yeah.
was it? Okay. Like
Well, no, I was in school, but they had a women's, Hutchinson had a women's team.
Mhm.
And I think you could play on it after if you were 15 or something like that.
what, so it was just like a rec, Hutchinson recreation team or something like that? Or
I suppose that's probably.
what were
maybe
you
the
called
sponsor
then?
that-
Was it still the Salt Hawks or?
It was just the women. No, it was just the Hutchinson. It was just women's team from Hutchinson.
And she left-handed, but she threw right-handed, and she threw like a man, and she knocked the socks off of you like Charlie Brown gets in the funny paper.
But we played other towns around.
Huh.
She went down to Topeka and
We went to the
Rumble Seat.
state championship.
You know, a Model A.
Yep, Rumble Seat. Our coach had a Model A with a Rumble
If you
Seat.
see a Model A with a Rumble Seat, they're not a very big rig. We saw a Model
But we
A
thought that
pickup
was
over
cool.
Smith Center the other day.
You went from Hutch to Topeka in that? How many people were in it?
Oh, just two in the front, two in the back.
Oh, okay.
Coach and his wife was in the front, and two of us rode in the back.
How'd the rest of the team get
They
there?
went in cars.
I mean, I know what a rumble seat is, but when you first said that, I thought that was some kind of name given
Oh.
to you, like she was the rumble seat. He's like, you went to Topeka as a rumble seat. It's like, cool.
Oh, wait.
And I was a third baseman.
When we lived over here where Joe is, Ruth used to babysit for the Brookses across the road, lived in that little house there on the corner. And she babysit for him, and I helped, we called him Preacher. That was his nickname. His name was Alan, but everybody called him Preacher. And I helped him saw wood, and he'd get old hedge brush from people cutting posts, all that home on a hay rack, and he'd want me to help him saw it up with a buzzsaw. Well, ain't nothing more dangerous than hedge brush on a buzzsaw, but I'd help him along. He needed all the help he could get. So every once in a while, they'd give us a treat. They'd take us to the show. So Ruth and I, we'd go along. Helen always drove, and Ruth would ride with her. And the Preacher and I sat in the rumble seat. He called it the mother-in-law's seat. We got to ride in the mother-in-law's seat. Anyway, they take us to Bel Air to the free show. We sat over there on old cement foundations over there, and they had a screen set up. We get to watch a movie over there. We got a treat. It was all right.
Sounds fun.
It's kind of
I
like,
played ball a couple of times with the town team up here because players got hurt and they called to see if I could play. So I played a couple of games with them. That was after Sandy was born, somewhere after Sandy was born. And Bill said he was up there. He said the Dr. Eustace used to be the old doctor uptown.
yeah, but Doc Eustace, she hit the ball, knocked it out there, man, she run to first base. And old doctor, boy, that girl can run right along from what she got to toe. Well, I talked her out of playing ball. I said anyone with 3 little kids like that shouldn't have any business playing ball. Get hurt or something, or boogered up, or throw a calf or something.
But I'm sure it was fun.
Anyway, she could throw it, just knock your socks off, and she cut loose, accurate. Threw right at and threw just like a man would. Most girls, they throw like that, or else they gotta be underhand. Trying to throw them, but she didn't.
So that was my end of my budding career.
What could have been? Good memories.
Anyway, it's
But
tough.
we didn't go very much. I lived here 20 years before I went to Mankato. Mankato's what, 19 miles east of,
You went to Downs and London and Red Cloud.
Red Cloud, the only time we went there was because
You're
that's where my
having a
doctor
kid.
was. That's where the doctor was.
Yeah.
What
We
did
had
you?
kids.
I mean, when you did do something like go to town or do something for fun, what was it usually?
We didn't do
You
anything.
didn't have fun.
You played the piano.
I
That
knew
was
I
for
was stepping
fun.
into that. I was like, don't say the F word. Fun.
Well, we went to drive-in movie over Smith Sanitarium
With our kids, all of our kids.
They'd stand up behind the seat, look over.
They would or you would?
That movie we saw over there, where they had this thing moving down
Well, no, we saw that at down the Ten Commandments.
the Ten Commandments.
Yeah,
Oh,
where it
wow.
showed the death angel coming and it
Yeah.
had this
Yeah.
like fog, you know.
Yeah,
blue
I know what you're talking
through it.
about.
Coming down the street and around, and we went
seen
down the hutch one time, the snow was blowing.
It was New Year's Day and we were supposed to go down there and we couldn't because it was icy and so forth. And I was so disappointed that we didn't get to go down there. So he said, we'll go. And it was 10 below zero and we left home and it was 10 below zero when we got back. We were driving down the highway and you know how the snow kind of blows across
Yeah.
the highway.
Went back
Tad
and
was
forth.
standing there behind him and he says,
That's the death
oh, that's
angel.
the death angel.
You know what's
Could
funny
very
is
well have been too.
my mom and I talk about all the time when the snow blows on the road. We're like, looks like the angel of death and 10 commandments.
Yeah. That's what Dad said, oh, that's a death angel.
And Grandpa said, yeah, we should have stayed home, probably.
No, mostly what we did, we just got together, family got together over at Grandma and Grandpa's. Some of the family usually was getting together for some or other. We didn't go a lot of places.
Hardly went anywhere. One thing, we didn't have money to go anywhere. We had kids to feed. That's what we done. Well, it was probably a dull life for a lot of people. We just didn't go anywhere.
Our boys didn't play. They didn't play basketball in grade school because we couldn't afford to go back and forth like that and look at it, see any of their games or anything. And the girls didn't either. And then when they got into high school, of course, they didn't. Girls basketball was just kind of starting around here at that
Well,
time to
yeah.
play.
Back in the 40s, they had schools basketball.
Yeah, but then they did, when I went to Hutchinson, we didn't have any, we had intramurals for girls, but we played, you know, among ourselves in the school, but they didn't have teams of girls that went and played other towns or anything.
Dick went out for football and his shoulder kept coming out. They knocked his shoulder out. Put it back in, made him play. I've had my shoulder out of joint, both of them at different times. Why a coach would have used a kid like that is way beyond me.
The boys played football and Dick played basketball. Tad did some, but not much.
Yeah, Randy Warner, he was a senior when Tad was about a freshman. He went out for football, and Randy was a football player. He was a big senior. Tad tackled him about 3 times up there. He'd just break through. He was a linebacker, and Randy'd get through and Tad would tie his feet together, and down he'd go, and done that about 3 times. Made old Randy pretty mad. He couldn't hardly handle that. Tad wasn't very big. He probably didn't weigh 100 pounds. But he tackled him. He could,
It's like a regular Rudy.
Yeah.
The movie.
But anyway, and the girls, they played basketball, but they didn't have volleyball up here. They just started playing basketball.
I remember, I think, I remember Grandpa or Grandma, one of you were talking about when the guys used to get out their pliers and
Yeah.
pinch each other.
That was him and his boys.
Dumb.
So that's what you did for fun.
Well, I done that for preservation. They was big enough that they could give me a hard time. They would just pull out my pliers and pinch their bellies. Of course, I've got a mark or two around on mine. They done the same thing.
And that wasn't the only thing they did. They also would kick each other in the shins with their boots.
Gosh.
They would do that right here in the dining room.
It's a little sadistic.
Dad got to where he was feeling pretty big when he got to be about 15. He was up north and walking up across a trail on the skilling place up there. He grabbed my hat and threw it off. I picked it up and put it back on. Pretty soon he walked up behind me and he grabbed it and threw it over the fence. So I went and got my hat again. He started to again and I just tipped him up and dumped him down there. Bull nails about that high on that there in the trail, and I just sat on top of him. Man, he couldn't hardly handle it. He thought he was big enough to take care of me. Well, I spent quite a lot of time on my back when my brother sitting on me, and I had a little more experience than he did. Well, he didn't like them stickers very well. I just held him right on there a while, and finally let him up. We got down there and started up at the house, and he tackled me out there in the middle of the yard, so I had to educate him again. Dump him down and sat on top of him. He never really tried me after that, I guess. I told him he better grow a few years. Well, they both of them got big enough they could have.
Well, he is a pretty smart guy.
Well, I had to bluff him. If you could bluff him, I got by pretty good. I was asked her mother one time, getting a little smart aleck and giving her some lip, and I just called them out in the yard. I said, you don't ever treat your mother with disrespect. And I said, if you think you're big enough that you can change my mind, you just hop right on. They both of them probably bigger than I was, but I had a little experience. They didn't try me. They never did. I was glad. They hurt me, but they never treated their mother with disrespect, as far as I know. After that, ever. They didn't sass her, but they do now. They argue politics with her, but they go round and round over that. But they did not treat her with disrespect, and they never used bad language around the mother. I appreciate that. Now, I'm a cusser, right? When you ain't no bigger than I am, sometimes that's all you can do about a situation, just cuss. So that's what I've done.
So, Grandma, if there's any way you could sum up your time in this old rock house, what would it be? What would be a summary of these crazy years?
Au revoir, I guess.
Au revoir. You know, the first Japanese I ever learned was from you.
Sayonara.
Sayonara. I thought it was some kind of folksy talk. It was like a foreshadowing.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Said it all again.
Yeah.
I'll think of quite a little tomorrow.
So, it was a good trip down memory lane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for sharing and caring.
Well, what's little we have to share.
I have lots of good things.